Welcome to Gold Derby. I'm senior editor Denton Davidson here with Rose McIver, the star of Ghosts on CBS, which just aired its hour-long Ghost Miss holiday episode. Rose, talk about this episode a little bit. It's fun to get in the holiday spirit at the Woodstone B&B.
So I feel like we have a bit of everything this episode. We have it's a two-parter to begin with, and we also have Sam is desperate to fit in with Jay's family, and Jay's mum and dad show up, and we finally get to see them. So he's also got his sister back, who we've already seen Sam's enthusiastic beginnings of a friendship with, and I mean, like it's already hard. I think people will find it resonant with them that when you have Christmas, you have this overlap of different people and personalities and desires, and it's so intense at the best of times. And on top of that, Sam and Jay are also being possessed by Nancy and Pete. So it's like everything that could possibly come at you at Christmas has come at you. And I had so much fun. Like Nancy is played by Betsy Sodaro, and she's one of my favorite people and performers that I've literally ever worked with. So getting to like throw a dart at my version of a Nancy is a luxury. It's so fun. She was so generous. We have Pete, who's played by Richie Moriarty, possesses Jay, and Utkarsh is able to channel like a lot of the emotional kind of significant chunks of Pete's like emotional arc for his whole storyline. Jay is able to kind of be able to work through. So we got given like this gift of an episode, and yeah, complicated, very technical, very fun, and navigated all by our director Richie Keane, who I thought did a brilliant job.
What's the most fun thing about playing Nancy and taking on that persona? How do you prepare for that?
It's the most liberating character, especially having played Sam, who is so concerned with other people's wants and needs and is very much focused on trying to accommodate everybody else all the time. It's genuinely liberating and fun to just play somebody who is so present and so uh, sort of not phased by anybody else's take on her. And so, yeah, that was pretty great. I mean, just eating guacamole with bare hands and you know, not being concerned with impressing the in-laws to such a degree that it ends up coming full circle and Champa actually likes her. I mean, it was a real treat to be able to step into this version of Sam.
Yeah, Chamba actually prefers this version of Sam, and she
Yeah.
said she loosened up a bit. So what's been so difficult to impress about her for Sam, and what do you think she'll learn her lesson from this experience?
Yeah, I think like any parent, Champa wants the best for her kid. And Jay is a very beloved child. And she has high standards of who he should be with and what they should be like. And on the flip side, Sam probably doesn't do herself any favors. She does try too hard. She tries so, so hard, and she comes on very strong. And I think it all is born out of Sam's desire to belong. We've unpacked a little bit this season where she's from, and her relationship with her own dad is pretty strained, and her mum wasn't around she died when she was a teenager. So it's it's understandable to me that she really is desperate to connect, but unfortunately, as we all know in life, that often has the opposite effect, and it kind of makes people want to sort of step back from you and set a boundary. So yeah, it's like being possessed by Nancy and being able to let those concerns go a bit and just be who she is the thing that ultimately entices Champa.
And I love this line from Isaac because they're all watching this take place, and he goes, "Jay's mom prefers the basement gremlin." And
Yeah.
you
I
know,
love my favorite version of Sam is the version where she's just not cool. She doesn't really fit in. She wants to. I hope that we can kind of love her anyway, but it's like that's the birthplace of her humor for me. Is this overzealous desire to fit in and connect with people. And yeah, Isaac and Hetty are often pretty quick to point that out. And Brandon and Rebecca and I have a lot of fun with that.
and Pete possesses Jay, as you said, and they try to perform this exorcism, but Pete's spirit is so innocent that Jay actually gets purged out of the body. So this is hilarious because Jay gets to see these spirits now that are living in his B&B. So what was interesting about that whole Um,
Well, one of my favorite things about it is that, the exorcism is something they find on YouTube from like the most unlikely sort of schlocky seeming source, and it works. That to me is like a great story point. But it also, yeah, it means that Jay is now able to connect with the ghosts. I think what's really nice is it actually gives him one up on Sam in that he's able to physically connect with the ghosts. And after 4 years of her clearly having holding the reins in the relationship with her roommates, I think it's really nice that he's able to have something that she doesn't. And he hugs them, he slaps Thor on the shoulder, Thor slaps him on the shoulder and nearly breaks his scapula or whatever. But it's just like that's a pivotal shift for me in their relationship dynamic. And gives must be so vindicating for and sorry validating for Jay that he's believed this thing for so long that other people would be like, are you insane? Like, what, your wife is clearly mad, and he's stuck by her, believed it, had experiences that have made him know it's true. But then to actually be able to experience in the flesh what it's like to know them is so cool. It's like a real um, billboard episode, I think, for us.
yeah. And he also gets to eavesdrop a little bit on his parents, which is another turning point for him because he actually sees his father admit that he is proud of him and he is a great chef. He's just worried about him.
Yeah, and as Utkarsh says, when he speaks about this storyline, it's a really personal storyline for him. He's the child of immigrants who worked incredibly hard to live somewhere, to give their child the best life they could, and they're terrified of anything being less than brilliant for him, and a fear of failure that kind of is at risk of being passed down through the generations stops because Jay is willing to go out on a limb and follow his dreams. And it's such a moving storyline. And I think people on set it really resonated with at the time. A lot of us could kind of really feel for that and understand what he's going through and what his parents are going through. And yeah, this sense that he is going to do it anyway and he's going to make them proud of him for the reasons he wants to is just beautifully navigated by Utkarsh, I think.
And the sweetest part of the episode, I think, is just seeing Pete, who possesses Jay, getting that moment to see his family and hug his daughter. What was it like accompanying him through that ride?
Yeah, it's incredible. It was an incredibly technical piece to shoot. On this, like when we read it on the page and in these glimpses of the moments in the scenes, we could feel how special that was. But you got to remember we're shooting with VFX and versions of Jay stepping back and Pete revealing himself, and it was you get quite caught up in the technicality of it when it's happening, and then to be able to go back and watch it at the end and feel that heartbeat is just so beautiful. Yeah, I think especially I became a parent this year, and the sense of the idea of watching my daughter from afar without being able to hold her in my arms is just the yearning that brings out in you is wild. So to be able to see that resolved or satiated in Pete is just beautiful. It's so well written. The whole episode is so well crafted, and yeah, I think to be able to hit the comedy highs and the emotional highs that it does is a real win for us.
Yeah. It puts you in the Christmas spirit. So, I mean, I think the goal is accomplished. And speaking of Christmas spirit, I want to talk about a little bit. It's that time of year again where people binge the Christmas Prince franchise on Netflix. And critics have called it the worst holiday movie ever. And it's like stepping in dog shit twice on purpose. And I
The
bring
on
this up
purpose is a nice detail in that sentence for me.
and I bring this up because you did on Instagram.
Yeah.
So screw
Yeah.
critics, right? People love these movies. Talk about this franchise that critics love to hate, but fans love to watch.
Well, it's so funny. My whole career has been largely built by fans. Like well, entirely built by fans, but specifically the projects that I've worked on have been really fan supported shows. Like, I mean, I did Power Rangers, I did Hercules and Xena, and iZombie and Ghosts, and Christmas Prince is like it's something that people love, and people can talk about it however they want, but it's like there are reasons that people have watched it on repeat for the last few years, and that just makes me so happy. It's ridiculous. We lean into the ridicule, we lean into the escapism, and I'm really proud to be a part of something that doesn't take itself so seriously and is just really concerned with bringing Christmas cheer. You know, it's like it's something that you can drink a liter of eggnog and do a jigsaw puzzle and put on, and you're guaranteed a good time.
I love how Netflix trolled the 53 people who watched it every day for 3 weeks that one
I
time
know.
as well. Do you have a guilty pleasure that you love to go home and watch where like we're not going to see it at the awards shows anytime soon, but you just like to go have a good time?
Well, I'd never watched any of The Bachelor. I hadn't really watched much reality TV in general, but The Golden Bachelor and The Golden Bachelorette, something about as you know, manufactured or manipulated as the material is, as it always is on any reality show, I could just get invested in the stakes in these two. And like I love that. And I heard that there's a new one called Later Dating, I think it's called on
Oh yeah.
Netflix.
Yeah.
That's going to be my perfect binge for the holidays. Like watching people who actually have loved and lost and like wanting to love again. Uh, it's it's fun. It's like, yeah, as you say, like a guilty kind of tuning out of the things that you have to deal with day to day and just enjoying possibility and potential and later in life potential. Something about that really moved me. So I enjoy those.
And Ghost has been well received by critics and fans, but what really keeps it going is that fan base. You can fill a convention center at Comic-Con. I mean, what resonates so much with fans and this show?
I still can't believe how lucky we are to be as supported as we are by the fans. Like people are so enthusiastic. I think to me, the thing that I've heard from people is everybody can see themselves in it. It's like there's such a diverse mix of personalities and the roles that you play within a family that somebody could be like, oh, I'm so the Isaac of that group, or I'm so the whatever. Like, I think that the kind of ingredients, all of the different ingredients that go into making our show are so uh, varied in flavor that I feel like that seems to be something that people really connect with. It's about family. It's about families who don't always get along or see things the same way as their other family members. And particularly right now, things are so polarized and heightened. And I think when you get to see this collision of opinion and worldview in a house that still somehow functions, there's something very aspirational about that. And people watch it with their families. You know, grandparents watch it with their kids, their grandkids. It's not that common to have that anymore, I feel like, on television, and to be able to sort of use that as a template to then have other conversations with your kids about, some of the issues and things that come up, and for the whole thing still not to feel like a TED talk. It's palatable and gentle, and watchable, and I think I'm just really proud to be part of something that people come up at conventions dressed up as the characters from, or say they've watched it with a loved one going through something hard. I feel incredibly lucky.
And fans can catch up on season 4 of Ghosts on Paramount Plus over the holidays. Is there anything you can tease for what's coming up after the new year?
Yeah, I'll say that Brandon Scott Jones, speaking of critical acclaim, our amazing Brandon Scott Jones, who plays Isaac, gets to do his best work in the show in an episode that comes up where we flash back to discovering when Isaac met Hamilton and why exactly he hates him as much as he does. And it's not the reasons that you would expect. So that is the funniest script I've read of our show, and I haven't seen it yet cut together, but I have no doubt that it's going to really deliver. It had all of the pieces in place to do so. Nat Faxon playing Hamilton, it's brilliant casting.
We can't wait for that. January 30th is the next episode. And Rose, it was so much fun to talk Ghost with you. Have a great holiday, and we'll see you next year.
Thank you so much, Denton. I really appreciate it.